Thank you for the opportunity of sharing some of my passions with you guys today. I'm waiting for this slide to auto-advance. What you see here are the Balearic Islands off the coast of Spain. The main one, Mallorca, is a German colony, 2-hour flight from Frankfurt. Yeah, it's serviced daily by Lufthansa and Air Berlin. This cute baby was born there some years ago, and this baby always had an interest in ancient cartography of the Balearic Islands and maps. You see, the Balearic Islands have been mentioned in ancient texts since the time of the Greeks. The Greek refers to the Balearic Islands as the gymnasia, as you see on that map. That's the Greek word for naked. They refer to them as the naked islands because the inhabitants used to run naked during the summer. So if we were to fast forward 2,000 years later, this is a more recent picture. The inhabitants still run naked around the island. This is a tradition observed by many German tourists of all ages through the summer. It can be a quite disturbing sight. In winter, if you want to know the water temperature, you don't need Topex Poseidon. All you have to do is count how many Scandinavian tourists are swimming in the water. So if you only see Scandinavian tourists, you know the water is pretty cold. But anyway, more serious matters. In the Middle Ages, there was a colony, a group of Jewish map makers that made some of the most beautiful maps of the Middle Ages, working for the king, drawing nautical charts and atlases. Those atlases were really the Google of their time. This is the Catalan Atlas by Cresques Abraham. That is the name of my cat. And it really contains all the knowledge of the world. That was the Google of its day. It has all the places and all the kings and all the travels and all the treasures of the world. Here's some detail of the Magi going to Bethlehem, guided by a star. If you notice, the Fair of the Magi is pointing to a star at a slightly different angle from the one in the back. So one must wonder why in 1375 they were doing that. So that means they were observing a star at different angles. So I think over the baseline of the caravan, this is clearly early VLBI technique being used in 1375 before any of that. Anyway, these are really, truly beautiful works of cartography. When this map by Balseca was shown to Chopin in the 1800s in Mallorca, to open the map, somebody placed an inkwell. Unfortunately, the parchment rolled back. There was ink all over, and to this day, you can see on the right-hand side that ink stain. You can see this map in Barcelona. Balseca really made his money by buying and selling property in Mallorca, as well as buying and selling slaves. He realized a long time ago that you cannot work on geodesy for the government and make a proper living. If you look at these medieval maps, they're all turned 9 degrees, and that's because they use a magnetic compass, and they didn't know about the magnetic declination. So at the time, that declination happened to be 9 degrees east, so you can infer that from looking at the maps. The Arabs at the time were actually a bit smarter and using astronomical observations to place latitude of places. Their maps were not very accurate because their instruments were still not good enough to assess latitude. So they started a project called SLR 2000 back then. This is a German blunder in cartography. Balsibuller got a hold that this guy named Americo Vespuccio had made it to a new continent. He called it America. Another guy named Christopher Columbus was very upset. So there's been a lot of talk and debate about who invented these beautiful portolan charts, this idea of having directions to ports and all that. Were the Catalans? Were they the Portuguese? Who were they? It turns out, like everything beautiful in life, it was invented by the Italians. In Mallorca, there was a big colony of Genoese Italians from the early times, and all the Mallorcan maps are copied from Italian maps. In fact, you can trace the amount of Italians in Mallorca by looking at the records of biscotti bakeries established in the island, and that correlates with the Genoese population. It turns out that even some of our heroes that we thought they were Catalan, like Jaume Ferrer here, exploring Africa, his real name was Giacomo Ferrà, of Italian parents also. So it raises the question, what did we accomplish? We didn't invent the maps, and we didn't. Most of our explorers were Italian. So what's Mallorca famous and Catalonia for? Well, FC Barcelona and great tennis players. Thank you.